Welcome back to The Science of Getting Rich Remixed, read by the author, Misty Barron. Chapter 4, Your Thoughts Are Hacking Reality. Here's where it gets uncomfortably real. You're not just floating through life reacting to what happens. You're creating it with thought. Wallace Wattles called it the first principle. Thought is the only power that can shape the formless substance into tangible form. In other words, everything you see around you was once just a thought. Your house, your car, your phone, even this book. That's not philosophy, that's mechanics. The ancients knew this. James Allen said in As a Man Thinketh, as you think, so you become. Napoleon Hill built an empire of motivation on it in Think and Grow Rich. Ernest Holmes expanded it in Science of Mind. The Bible itself says, in the beginning was the Word. Thought, then word, then manifestation. So here's the deal. Every thought you hold imprints on the formless substance, and spirit responds. Your mind is not a random dump for Netflix reruns and TikTok scrolls. It's Source's creative engine. If you waste it on complaints, catastrophes, or gossip, you're literally programming yourself into mediocrity. But if you align it with vision, gratitude, and action, you're creating like the Creator. Your mind is spiritual code. Whatever you write, beliefs, images, feelings, executes into form. Focus on disease and you strengthen it. Focus on lack and you multiply it. Focus on truth, abundance, and increase, and you unlock what is essentially the divine 3D printer. Neuroscience now nods in agreement. The brain's reticular activating system literally filters reality to match what you repeatedly focus on, and neuroplasticity wires those patterns deeper every time you choose them. In short, what you dwell on, you become. This is why Wattles repeats himself, and why I do too. Because you need to drill this until it becomes instinct. Until it's more automatic than brushing your teeth. Because here's the danger. Most of us are not thinking. We're recycling. We're rerunning old programming, cultural myths, family beliefs, and social media sound bites. And recycled thought produces recycled life. Think about it. How many of your thoughts are actually yours? How many are your parents' anxieties on replay? Your culture's limitations? Your past failures projected onto your future? Most people spend their whole lives thinking about their circumstances instead of from their vision. They look at their bank account and think, I'm broke. Then wonder why they stay broke. They're thinking from the problem instead of from the solution. The certain way requires that you think from your vision, not from your current reality. Vision first, then reality follows, not the other way around. The scarier truth, lack thinking isn't neutral. It doesn't just hold you back. It actively misuses your creative power against yourself. You're impressing the formless substance with shrinkage, with limits, with impossibility. That's why Wattles called this the greatest mistake. Not in a moral sense, but in a practical one. When you believe in lack, you're creating from a false premise. You're treating temporary conditions as permanent law, and the universe, ever faithful, delivers exactly what you're imagining, more lack. Not because you're being punished, but because the law is neutral. It gives you what you think about, whether that's abundance or scarcity. Modern proof. Brene Brown. For years, she was just a professor at the University of Houston, studying shame and vulnerability. Important work, sure, but not the stuff of pop culture or millions of readers. She could have kept her research small, safe, academic. Instead, she dared to think expansively. What if this truth belonged not just in classrooms, but in living rooms, boardrooms, churches, and conferences? She thought bigger, and that thought attracted bigger. One TEDx talk went viral, then books, then Netflix specials. Today, her work has reshaped how millions approach leadership, courage, and authenticity. She didn't stumble into success. She held a vision and impressed it on the formless substance until life reshaped to match. Notice what she didn't do. She didn't wait for academic approval. She didn't let "nobody cares about shame" research stop her. She thought from the vision. This matters to millions, instead of from the limitation. I'm just a professor. That's the first principle in action. Indie creators. Consider indie game designer Toby Fox, who created Undertale. No big studio, no investors, just a laptop and a vision. He imagined a world where combat could be about mercy instead of violence, and millions of players resonated. Or look at TikTok creator Elise Myers, who transformed awkward, honest storytelling into a global audience and career. Neither waited for permission. They held a thought, amplified it with vision and gratitude, and impressed it until the formless substance responded. They didn't think from, "I don't have a publisher," or "I don't have funding." They thought from, "What if this could work?" That shift, thinking from possibility instead of from limitation, is what activated the first principle for them. Wisdom across traditions. Every tradition echoes the same thunderclap. Thought is seed. Reality is fruit. Proverbs insist, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. In Islam, the Hadith records, actions are but by intention. The Upanishads say, you are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. Different words, one truth. Your mind is the steering wheel of your destiny. Here's what this means for you. Stop underestimating your thought life. Every time you say, "the system is rigged," or "it never works out for me," you're not reporting the news, you're laying blueprints. And spirit, ever faithful, starts building exactly what you drew. The universe is expanding. Creation is ongoing. Every thought you impress on that living field either joins the expansion or resists it. So what are you rehearsing? Growth, gratitude, and greatness? Or gossip, doom, and despair? How to redirect thought in real time. So you understand the principle. Thought shapes reality. The ancients knew it. Neuroscience confirms it. Every tradition teaches it. But here's the practical question. What do you do when you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never afford this," or "I always fail," or "the system is rigged against me"? Here's the 3-step redirect. Number 1, catch it without judgment. Don't beat yourself up for the negative thought. That's just adding negative thought on top of negative thought. Just notice, oh, there's that scarcity script again. 2, ask, is this true or is this programming? Most limiting thoughts aren't your original thinking. They're inherited. Your parents' fears, society's narratives, past experiences you're projecting into the future. Question whether it's actually true or just familiar. Number 3, choose the next thought. You don't have to flip from I'm broke to I'm a millionaire instantly. Your brain won't buy it. But you can move from I'll never have money to I haven't figured this out yet. That tiny shift from permanent to temporary cracks the door open, and that's where spirit enters. This isn't positive thinking. It's accurate thinking. And accuracy matters when you're programming reality. What to do next? This isn't abstract philosophy. This is your daily operating system. Every thought you think today is either building your vision or dismantling it. Every complaint is a brick in the prison. Every gratitude is a door swinging open. You don't need perfect thoughts. You need redirected ones. And that's a skill you can practice starting right now. Practice the 3-step redirect. Next time you catch a limiting thought about money, opportunity, your abilities, run it through. 1, notice without judgment. 2, ask, is this true or programming? 3, choose the next thought that's slightly more accurate. Do this 5 times this week. Track what happens. Think from your vision for 1 hour. Pick 1 hour tomorrow. For that hour, think and act as if your vision is already done. Not fake, as a creative experiment. You're not pretending to be rich. You're accessing the thought patterns of someone who is. Notice how different decisions feel from that vantage point. Audit your mental diet. What are you consuming that's programming scarcity? News? Certain friends' complaints? Social media doom? Name one source you'll limit this week. Replace it with content that feeds possibility. Biography of someone who built what you want, documentary about innovation, etc. Spark query. Why is it that when I think from my vision instead of from my circumstances, opportunities I couldn't see before suddenly appear? Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next week for the next chapter of The Science of Getting Rich Remixed by Misty Barron, available on Amazon. Hey, if you like this chapter, would you please like, subscribe, share with all your friends? They need to know how to get rich too. Sharing is caring.